Hello viewers and welcome. This is Master Joint Test Mathematics Paper 1 Alternative A. Let's go through this paper and it will help us to prepare for KCSE examinations. Remember to check the description of this video so that you can get the paper. Let's go straight to the questions. Question 1. An arc of a circle, center O, subtends an angle of 72 degrees at the center. Given that the perimeter of the sector is 34.2 centimeters, calculate the area of the sector. Take pi to be 22/7. So you're given an arc of a circle. Just begin by sketching it. So that is the arc of the circle, and it subtends an angle of 72 degrees at the center. So you can name this length of the arc to be AB. You're given that the perimeter of this sector is 34.2. So how do you get perimeter of this sector? By adding the distance around that sector. So you have radius here, you have radius here. So the perimeter will be given by, you get the length of the arc AB plus the 2 radii. That is how you get the perimeter. So we begin by getting the length AB. So how do you get the length AB? That is the length of an arc. So you get it by, so AB is the length of the arc. That will be 72 divided by 360 multiplied by 2 pi r. Remember, the length of the arc is given by this formula, theta over 360 times 2 pi r. That is the formula that I'm using. And then you will have to add, once you get the length of arc AB, you add the 2 radii in order to get the perimeter. So we work out this. So this will be 72 divided by 360 times 2 times pi times the radius. The radius is not known. We don't have the radius. So we'll leave it at that point. So you can simplify these by 72, 1 by 72, 5. And this one, when you simplify, you'll get 44r divided by 35. That is what you get. So that is the length of arc AB. Now we are going to add. So you have 44r divided by 35. We add the 2 radii. So 2 radii. And that is what is supposed to give the perimeter, which is 34.2. So we simply need to solve that equation and get the value of r. And then we use the value of r to get the area of the sector. So how do you go about this? We multiply this by 35. I want to get rid of that denominator, 35. Multiply each term by 35. Multiply each term by 35. So this one you remain with 44r plus this will give 2 times 35. That will give 70r is equals to 34.2 times 35. That will give 1197. And then put 4r plus 70r. That will give 114. R is equals to 1197. So therefore, radius is given by 1197 divided by 114. That will give 10.5 centimeters. Now that we have the radius, now we should get the area of the sector. And this is how we get the area of the sector. The area of the sector is given by theta divided by 360 multiplied by pi r squared. So the angle at the center, we have it, which is 72. The angle subtended by that arc, 72 divided by 360 times pi times the radius squared, which is 10.5 squared. Use your calculator to work out this, and this will give 69.3 centimeters. 69.3 centimeters squared as the solution. Question 2. Simplify the expression 4x squared minus 9 divided by 4x squared plus 12x plus 9. So we start with the numerator. So look at the numerator. And for the numerator, you'll notice that this is a difference of 2 squares. This is difference of two squares. 4x squared is a square of 2x. 9 is a square of 3. So when you factorize this difference of two squares, you'll get 2x plus 3, 2x minus 3. That is what you get. Then for the denominator, we have to factorize. These. So we have 4x squared plus 12x plus 9. So we have to factorize these by getting two numbers whose product is 36 and sum is equals to 12. So which are those numbers? Which are these numbers whose product is 36 and sum is 12? Those numbers are 6 and 6. 6 and 6. So you have 4x when you factorize 4x squared plus 12x is the same as 6 plus 6. We use those factors. 6x plus 6x, that is 12x plus 9. So factorize there. 4x squared and 6x, what is common? 2x is common. And then you get 2x, you remain 2x plus 3. Then between 6x and 9, what is common? 3 is common. So 3 is common, you remain with 2x plus 3. So this one simplifies to 2x plus 3, 2x plus 3. That is what you get for the denominator. So you have the numerator. The numerator is here. The denominator is there. So now get the solution. So the answer is given by the numerator, which is 2x plus 3, 2x minus 3, everything divided by 2x plus 3, 2x plus 3. Check for anything common in the numerator and the denominator. Notice 2x plus 3 is common in the numerator and the denominator. And that one will divide out so that you remain with 2x plus 3 minus 3. The solution divided by 2x plus 3. So that is the solution. Question 3. The metal rod's length 300 centimeters and 360 centimeters are cut into equal pieces and each piece sold at 250 shillings. Calculate the least amount of money that can be realized from the sale. Calculate the least amount of money that can be realized from the sale. Now, to get the least amount of money that can be realized, we need to get first the biggest length of the metal rod that can be obtained from these two metal rods, 300 centimeters and 360. Once we get that, we are going now to take 300 centimeters, divide by that length that we have obtained, and we get the number of pieces that can be obtained from 300, and then we take 360, divide by that longest or the largest length of the metal rod, and then we get the number. So to get the largest or the greatest length of the metal rod that can be obtained from these two, 300 centimeters and 360 centimeters, we shall get the greatest common divisor or the highest common factor of 300 centimeters and 360 centimeters. So that will give us the largest length of the metal rod that can be obtained from these two. And when you do that, when you get the GCD of 300 and 360, these will give 60. You get 60. These will give 60. That is 60 centimeters. So the largest length of the metal rod that can be obtained from these two, 300 centimeters and 360, will be 60 centimeters. Now, to get the number of pieces, we are going to take 300, the first length. We want to see how many pieces can be obtained from 300. So you take 300, divide by this length of the metal rod that we've just got, 60, and this will give 5 pieces. Again, we take 360. How many pieces can be obtained from that? We divide by 60, and this will give 6 pieces. So in total, we shall have 11 pieces. So 5 plus 6. In total, we shall have 11 pieces. And then each piece is supposed to be sold at 250. Each piece sold at 250. What about 11 pieces? So 11 times 250. So this will be the amount. So when you multiply that, you get 2,750 shillings. Question 4. A straight line L is perpendicular to the line 2x minus 3y plus 8 is equals to 0 at point -1, 2. Find the equation of L in the form y is equals to mx plus c, where m and c are constants. So you have a line, straight line L, that is perpendicular. So this line, let us give this line the gradient to be m1. And then it is perpendicular to this line, and we give the gradient of this line to be m2. Now you're supposed to find the equation of L in the form y is equals to mx plus c. Now there's a concept here you're supposed to know. You have line L, which is perpendicular to line whose equation is given there. So when two lines are perpendicular to one another, if we take the product of their gradient m1 times m2, in this case m1 is the gradient of line L, m2 is the gradient of the other line, you should be able to get -1. That will help us to get the gradient of L1 or L, this line L. So we will use the equation that is given here, where we have 2x minus 3y plus 8 is equals to 0. We reorganize this one into a standard equation of a straight line. Y is equals to mx plus c. So this will give 3y is equals to 2x plus 8. So y is equals to 2/3 plus 8/3. This is a 2/3 x. 2/3 x. So m2, the gradient will be the coefficient of x. The coefficient of x is 2/3. So that is the gradient. So having that, we'll be now able to get m1. So m1, the gradient of line L, times m2, which is 2/3, should give -1. Therefore, m1 will be given by, multiply both sides by a reciprocal of 2/3, that is 3/2, will be -3/2. So that is now m1, the gradient of line L. Now that we have that, and we are given the point where it passes through point -1, 2, and it has the gradient of -3/2, we can now use those two to get the equation. And this is how we go about it. So we just introduce another general point on that line, x, y. That would assist you to get the gradient. So get the gradient, change in y subtract 2, divided by change in x subtract -1. X subtract -1 will be x plus 1, should be equal to the gradient, which is -3/2. So from here, cross multiply. So you have y minus 2. So 2 multiplied by y subtract 2 is equals to -3 x plus 1. So this will give 2y subtract 4 is equals to -3x -3. Reorganize the equation in the form that is required. Y is equals to mx plus c. So you have 2y is equals to, take -4 to the right hand side. So you shall have -3x minus 3 plus 4. So this will give 2y is equals to -3x, -3 plus 4, you get +1. So y, therefore, will be -3/2x plus 1/2. So that is how you're supposed to get the equation of that line. Question 5. A salesman gets a commission of 2.4% on sales up to 100,000 shillings. He gets additional commission of X% on sales above these. On a certain day, he got a commission of 5,100 for the sales amounting to 280,000. Find the amount of commission he would receive for the sales amounting to 320,000. So that is a question. Now let's go to the solution and see how you're supposed to do that. Now, the salesman gets a commission of 2.4 on sales up to 100,000. So for this one, for this amount of sales, first of all, he will get a commission of 2.4%, that is 2.4 of 100 of the sales that are up to 100,000. And then he'll get an additional commission of X% on sales that are above that. Sales that are above 100,000. So you just take 280,000, and then you subtract 100,000 to get the sales that are above 100,000. So this will give 180,000. So X% on sales above 100,000 will be 180,000. And with those two, he'll be able to get a commission of 5,100. So this equation will help us to get the value of X. So for this part, 2.4% times 100,000, this will give 2,400. Then X% times 180,000, that will give 1,800. X is equals to 5,100. So you can solve for X. So 1,800X is equals to 5,100 subtract 2,400, that will give 2,700. And this one will give X to be 2,700 divided by 1,800, that will give 1.5%. Now after getting that, now we'll be able to get the commission that you'll be able to get after having this sales 320,000. So the first one, of course, is sales up to 100,000. The commission for sales up to 100,000 will be 2.4% times 100,000. Already we have it there, so you don't need to repeat that again. Then plus X%. Already we have X% is 1.5 of the sales that are above 100,000. So to get the sales above, you simply take 320,000, then subtract 100,000 to get the sales that are above 100,000. So sales above 100,000 will be 220,000. So it will be 1.5% of 220,000. So this is what you're going to work out. And when you work out these, you get 2,400 plus these two zeros and these two zeros. So this will give 1.5 times 2,200. That will give 3,300. And when you add these, you'll get the commission of 5,700. So that is how you're supposed to solve that. Question 6. The sum of the interior angles of a regular polygon is 1260 degrees. Calculate the size of each exterior angle of the polygon. Calculate the size of each exterior angle of the polygon. So, having been given the sum of interior angles of a regular polygon, the first thing that we should know is how do we get the sum of the interior angles of a regular polygon? We get it by this formula, 2n subtract 4 right angles, where n is the number of sides. N is the number of sides given. So now when we take this expression here, 2n subtract 4 multiplied by 90, that should give 1260. That should give us 1260. By that, we'll be able to get the number of sides that will give the sum of interior angles to be 1260. So this will be 180 when you open the bracket minus 360 is equals to 1260 degrees. So you get 180, and is equivalent to 1260 plus 360. That will give 1620. Will give 1620. So n will be 1620 divided by 180. And n will be how many sides? 9 sides. So a polygon with 9 sides is the one that will give the sum of interior angles to be 1260. After getting that, the question is the size of exterior angle. Now, having the number of sides, we can get the size of the exterior angle. So exterior angle is given by this formula, 360 divided by the number of sides, that is n, number of sides. So you get exterior angle to be 360 divided by the number of sides, which is 9. And this will give 40 degrees. That is the size of each exterior angle. Question 7. 3 pegs A, B, and C are on a level ground such that the bearing of B from A is 0.75 degrees, while bearing of C from B is 135 degrees. AB is equals to 12 meters and BC is equals to 6 meters. Part A, using a scale of 1 centimeter to represent 1.5 meters, represent this information in a scale drawing, 2 marks. So we start with that. So start by drawing sketch these positions. So we have the bearing of B from A is 0.75. So I'll have to draw true north here. This is just a sketch. So this point is A, and this is a 0.75. We measure true bearing from the north in a clockwise direction. So 0.75 degrees is there. So A is here. So assuming that this is where I have B, then while bearing of C from B is 135, so you come at B, you draw another north there, draw another north. So from here, the bearing is 135. So 135, assuming this angle, so the whole of this angle here, 135. We measure true bearing from the north in a clockwise direction. So then AB is 12. Then BC, assuming C is there, is 6 meters. Now using this scale, 1 centimeter represent 1.5 meters. We shall take, for example, for 12, you divide by 1.5. So 12 divided by 1.5. You get 8. So here we shall measure 8 centimeters. Then for 6 meters, using this scale, 1 centimeter represents 1.5 meters. Take 6 meters, divide by 1.5 to get the centimeters that you're supposed to measure. So this one, 4 centimeters. Now having that sketch, you can now proceed and do the actual drawing. So for the actual drawing, I will simply start with me draw it here. So construct a north. And when you're constructing this north, kindly ensure that it is actually 90 degrees. So that is north, and this is point A. So we measure 0.75 degrees. So 0.75 degrees. So 0.75 degrees is, let me measure this one, need to be very keen. So 0.75 degrees, 75 be there. So you can see this angle from 0, I'm measuring from the north clockwise, so 10, 20, 75 is there. So once you've done that, you'll take measurement of 8 centimeters. So 8 centimeters is what you need. So that is 8. So that is up to that point. That is where we have 8 centimeters. Then from there, I will need to have another node. We construct another node here. So this is a point B. So point B is here. Need to construct another node there. So construct that node. And then we take measurement of 135 degrees. So 135 degrees. That is 135. So you can see from here 10, 20, 100, 120, 135 is there. So then from there, 6 centimeters, BC, 6 centimeters. So 6 centimeters is up to that point. Use a ruler to do this. So that is 6 centimeters. So we have, this is C, 6 centimeters. Remember, this is equivalent to 12 meters. This is equivalent to 6 meters. Is 6? No, not 6. I think I made a mistake there. That one should be 4. I'm sorry. So that one should be 4. It should be 4, not 6. BC is 6 meters. So after converting that, taking 6 divided by 1.5, we got that one to be 4. So that is 4. So C is supposed to be here. That is 4 centimeters, and it was 6 meters. We just converted that. Now after doing that, now we can go and answer the question. Hence find the bearing of C from A. C from A. So to get the bearing of C from A, we will join C to A first. Join C to A. So you're supposed to measure from A. So this is why you're supposed to place your compass, the bearing of C from A. That is the question here, part B. And you're going to join C to A first, and then you measure, you place your protractor at A. Remember that for true bearing, we measure the angle from the north in a clockwise direction. So just look at that. So this is a 10, 20, 90. This is 94. So this is giving 94 degrees. So from here, 10, 20 up to 94. So that is 0.94. So this is 0.94 degrees. So this is 0.94 degrees. So that is how you're supposed to solve that question. So we have used the scale 1 centimeter to represent 1.5 to represent that information. There it is. And then we've given the bearing of C from A. So that is how you're supposed to solve. Question 8. So for x and y in the equation, 9 power x multiplied by y to power 3 is equals to 51/84. So to solve that, we start with the left-hand side. So look at the left-hand side of the equation. You have 9 to power x So 9 power x, we can write that one as to the base of 3 is 3 to power 2, that is 9, then x, that is the same as that. So now we have 3 to power 2x multiplied by y to power 3 is equals to 5184. Then the next step, we can express 5184 in terms of the product of its prime factors. 5184, can do that. So divide this one by 2. So express it as a product of its prime factor. So you get this is by 2, 2592. Divide this by 2, you get 1296. Divide by 2, you get 648. Divide by 2, 324. 324, divide that by 2, 162. Divide by 2, you get 81. By 3, 27. By 3, 9. By 3, 3. By 3, 1. So this gives 3 to power 2x times y cubed is equals to, now when you express 5184 as a product of its prime factors, this will be 2 raised to power 6, as you can see, multiplied by 3 raised to power 4. Now from there, to get the values of x and y, you can simply equate the corresponding values here. So you have 3 to power 2x. That one corresponds to 3 to power 4. You can see they share the same basis, base 3. So with these, we'll be able to pick the powers and equate them. So 2x is equals to 4. And here x is equals to 2. Now the next one that you're going to equate is y cubed. Y cubed corresponds to 2 power 6. And 2 to power 6 is the same as 64. You can express that one again as 4 to power 3 in order to have the powers to be the same. 2 to power 6 is the same as 64, and 64 can also be written in power form using base 4. That gives a 4 to power 3. Now with these, now it is possible to get y. Y cubed is equals to 4 raised to power 3. So, you know what you need to do. Simply, if you want to get the value of y, you simply get the cube root of each side. The cube root of y cubed is y. The cube root of 4 cubed is 4. So therefore, you've obtained the values of x and y. Question 9. The area of two lids of similar containers A and B are 48 centimeters squared and 108 centimeters squared respectively. Given that the height of B is 4 centimeters longer than the height of A, find the height of A. So from what you have been given here, the areas of these two similar containers, will be able to get the area scale factor. So that will give us the area scale factor, which is the ratio of the areas of two similar figures. So area scale factor will be the area of the smaller container, which is 48, divided by the area of the larger container, 108. When you simplify these, 48 divided by 108 in simplest form, this will give 4 divided by 9. Now remember that this is the numerator represents A, the area of container A, then the denominator, container B. Now you're given further that the height of B is 4 centimeter longer than that of A. So if the height of A, let's say, is x, then the height of B is 4 centimeter longer. It will be x plus 4, or 4 plus x. Now, since we want to get the height, we will be required to get the linear scale factor, because linear scale factor is the ratio of lengths of two similar figures. And for us to get linear scale factor, we shall use the relationship that exists between area scale factor and linear scale factor. and this is the relationship. Linear scale factor is equals to the square root of area scale factor. So since you have area scale factor is 4/9, so we get the square root of that, and this will give 2 divided by 3. So linear scale factor is 2 divided by 3. Now that is what you're going to use. Now we have 2/3, which is the ratio of lengths, that is the linear scale factor, is equals to the length of the bigger one, which is x, now of the smaller one, which is the smaller one is the one that is in the numerator, then divided by the larger one, which is x plus 4. So now you solve this equation and get the value of x. So simply cross multiply. 2 multiplied by x plus 4, this will give 2x plus 8 is equals to 3 times x, 3x. Like terms together, you'll have, you take this one to this side, you'll have 3x subtract 2x, x is equals to 8 centimeters. So the height of A, which is x, is 8 centimeters. Question 10. 𝐶RUI began a 200-meter race at 8:30 and 10 seconds AM, running at an average speed of 6 meters per second. At 8:30 and 15 seconds AM, Kipchoge started the same race, running at an average speed of 8 meters per second. Calculate the distance of 𝐶RUI from the finish line when Kipchoge finished the race. Now, after reading the statement there, we are required to calculate the distance of 𝐶RUI from the finish line when Kipchoge finished the race. The race is a 200 meter, and 𝐶RUI began earlier, then at the given speed there, then Kipchoge started at 15 seconds later. Now, because Kipchoge finished first, or finished as the first in this race, we are supposed to get the time taken by Kipchoge to finish. So time taken by Kipchoge to finish. You get time by simply getting the distance divided by the speed. So the distance is 200 meters. The speed is 8 meters per second. So when you work out these, you notice that Kipchoge took 25 seconds to complete that race. Now that one will guide us the time taken by 𝐶RUI. So 𝐶RUI had begun earlier by 5 seconds. So we're going to get the time throughout these 25 seconds. Remember, 𝐶RUI was running. So we want to see the distance between them when Kipchoge was finishing the race. So throughout the 25 seconds taken by Kipchoge, remember 𝐶RUI was running, so that is 25 seconds. Then plus 𝐶RUI had begun earlier by 5 seconds. You can see from the time. So 𝐶RUI began at 8:30 and 10 seconds. Then Kipchoge started at 8:30 and 15 seconds. So you can see that 𝐶RUI had ran for 5 seconds before Kipchoge started. So we add 5 seconds. This is the time taken by 𝐶RUI. So in total, 𝐶RUI, by the time Kipchoge was finishing the race, 𝐶RUI had taken 30 seconds. That is 25 seconds taken by Kipchoge, then plus 5 seconds because he had begun earlier. Now, what distance is this? So we use that time to get the distance. So distance by 𝐶RUI, you get it by speed times time. So the speed is 6 meters per second used by 𝐶RUI, then times 30 seconds. This will give us the distance that he had covered within 30 seconds. This will give 180 meters. So 180 meters is the distance that Kirui had covered by the time Kipchoge completed the race. And Kipchoge completed the race, that is 200 meters. So to get the distance between them, you simply take the total distance, which is 200 meters, subtract 180 meters. And now this will be the distance. 20 meters will be the distance between them from the finish line. Question 11. A cylindrical tin is filled with 385 centimeter cubed of water to a height of 10 centimeters. Calculate the surface of the cylinder in contact with the water. The surface of the cylinder in contact with the water. How do we get that? We shall get that by using this formula, pi r squared, that is the circular part occupied by the water, then the curved part, 2 pi r multiplied by height. So when you look at that formula, we don't have the radius, but we have the height. So we need to get the radius first, and you're going to use the volume given here and the height to get the radius. So volume is 385 is equals to, and I know the formula, volume is given by pi r squared height. That's how we get the volume of the cylinder. So pi times r squared times the height, which is 10. So we simply make r the subject, the formula, and r will be 385 multiplied by 7, and then divided by 22 times 10. We are simply making r the subject, the formula. We are solving for r. So this one, using a calculator, radius will give you 385 times 7 divided by 22 times 10. Everything divided by everything, you get the square root. I mean, this will give 3.5 centimeters. So that is the radius. Now, after getting the radius, now we can go ahead and calculate the surface of the cylinder in contact with the water. So the circular part, 22/7 times 3.5 squared, that is the circular part. Then the curved part, 2 multiplied by pi times the radius times the height. So work out this using a calculator. So 22 times 3.5 squared, that gives then you divide by 7, that gives that 8.5. Then the next one is 44 multiplied by 3.5 multiplied by 10, everything divided by 7, that gives 220. 220. There's a curved part. So when you add these, you'll get 258.5 centimeters squared. Question 12. Solve for x in the inequality, hence list all the integral values of x that satisfies the inequality. So these are combined inequality. So we need to extract two inequalities from these. So these are we going to extract them. So the first one we are going to extract will be this one. So that is the first one that we're going to extract. So 6x subtract 1 divided by 3 less than 3x plus 2. That is the first one. The second one we're going to extract is this. So this one, that is the second one. So the second one will be 3x plus 2 less than or equal to 3x plus 15 divided by 2. So now after extracting the two inequalities, we solve them. We start with the first one. So for the first one, we can begin by multiplying both sides by 3 to eliminate that denominator. So when you multiply everything by 3 there, this is what you're going to get. So we shall have 6x subtract 1 less than, this is a 9x, plus you're multiplying everything inside bracket there by 3. So plus 6, like terms together. So 6x subtract 9x less than 6 plus 1. So this will give negative 3x less than 7. So from there you want to get x. So divide both sides by negative 3. So you'll have x. When you divide both sides by negative, this sign will change, less than, to the opposite, which is greater than. So this will be x is greater than 7 over 3. That is negative 7 over 3. So that is the first one. The second inequality is 3x plus 2 less than or equal to. So for that one, let me first can do something before I come to that. So I can multiply both sides here by 2 and this side by 2. So that now I will have 3x times 2, that is 6x, plus 2 by 2, that is give 4, less than or equal to. This one will give 3x plus 15. Like terms together again. So 6x subtract 3x less than or equal to 15 subtract 4. So this will give 3x less than or equal to 11. So divide both sides by 3. You get x is less than or equal to 11 over 3. Or these can be 3 and 2/3. So 3 and 2/3. And this one can also write it as a negative 2 and a third. So now after having that, the next step is now to combine the two. Combine the two solutions. So you have this solution here and this solution. So x being at the center there, less than or equal to 3 and 2/3. And the other one, x is greater than. X is greater than negative 2/3. So negative 2 and a third will therefore be less than. So that is the combined. Now from there, we've not yet finished. So we need to get the integral values. The integral values means we are supposed to get the integers only, whole numbers only, no decimals, no fractions. That is how we get the integral values. So draw the number line. Draw the number line. So I have negative 2/3 and 3/3. So I can put 0 there. So 0. This is 1. This is 2. Negative. So you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 3 and 2/3. Assume that is there. That is how you have 3 and 2/3. And then the other one is negative 2. Negative 2 and a third. Negative 2 and a third is there. So this is how you have it. So negative 2/3. Like that. So x is greater than negative 2/3. So that means the values that are to the right of that, we require greater than, we require values that are to the right, greater than negative 2/3. Then for the other one, x is less than or equal to. So meaning that even this is included. 3 and 2/3. So x is less than or equal to 3 2/3. Less than, it means the values that are to the left required. So whatever is between here, whatever I've shaded here, this the solution lies here. And you're required to get the solutions only the integral values. So the first one will be negative 2 because we don't consider fractions or decimals. So -1, 0, then 1, 2, and 3. We are not going to take 3 and 2/3 because that is fractions. Whole numbers only, the integral values. So those are the solutions. Question 13. The figure below is a net of a cube with faces marked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Identify the face that is opposite to the 1, face marked 1, then B, face marked 2. Now for you to answer this question, you need to join. This is a net of a cube, so you need to join to make the complete cube. When you join it, or just make a sketch of what you are supposed to have, you will have something like this. This is just a sketch. When you join it, you will have probably something like this. So you end up with something like that when you join it. And then when you now look at the faces, because you have to match, you have to indicate the number on each of those faces. Now when I label them here, they might cause confusion. This is what I'm going to do. For the front face, you have 4, and then for the left you have 3, then right, the right face. Now from this diagram, you're getting everything from this diagram. The right one will be 5, marked 5. Then the top will be 6. Bottom will be 2. And back will be 1. So those are the 6 faces. So when you join these net to make a cube, that is how you're supposed to have the faces. So the one that is front facing you, that will be 4. The one that is to the left is 3, and so on. So you're supposed to identify the face marked 1. Which face is opposite that? Face marked 1. So face marked 1 is the back. So the one that is should be opposite that should be the one that is the front. The one that is to the opposite side should be front. So this one is solution here is 4. Face marked 4. Then face marked 2. Face marked 2 is bottom. So which one is opposite bottom? It is top. So that one is face marked 6. So in that question, you simply require to join those that net and make a cube, and then you make sure that each face is labeled. I've not labeled there because when I label, you may not know which one is the front. That is why I have written it there to avoid confusion. So that is how you're supposed to solve that question. Question 14. From the top of a watchtower 10 meters high, an observer sees a foot of a post with an angle of depression of 30 degrees and the top of the post with an angle of elevation of 20 degrees. Calculate correct to 1 decimal place the height of the post. So the first thing is to make a diagrammatic representation of what you can read here. And me first by drawing the watchtower. So the watchtower is there. And then there is a post on this end. So there is a post like that. So from the watchtower, so this is the post. Then this is the watchtower. So from the top of a watchtower, the observer sees the foot of the post with an angle of 30 degrees depression. So from this point, the angle of depression, this is how we indicate the angle of depression. So the angle of depression will be this. This is 30 degrees. So from the top of the watchtower is here. So then the foot of the post is there. Then the top of the post is here. So on the top of the post with an angle of elevation of 20. So from the top of the watchtower still, the angle of elevation of the top of the post is 20 degrees. So that is how you're supposed to indicate that. And the watchtower is 10 meter high. So this is 10 meters. So with that now, you're required to calculate correct to one decimal place the height of the post. So that you can see where the post is. So the post is here, is the post. So we'll begin by getting this angle. So this is 30 degrees. Remember this angle here, 30 degrees is alternate to this angle. So also this one is 30 degrees. Remember the angle of elevation is equivalent to the angle of depression. So this angle here, because these two lines are parallel, so that line is parallel to this. So this 30 and 30, they are alternate. Now look at this right angle triangle that you have here. This angle is supposed to be 90. So you have 10 meters and 30 degrees. So using trigonometric ratios, we can do this sine of 30 is equivalent to, I can name this m, this side to be m. So that hypotenuse, this length here, can name it to be m. So opposite, which is 10 divided by m. So m therefore will be given by 10 divided by sine 30, and m will be 10 divided by sine 30 will give 20. So that side is 20 meters. So this side is 20 meters. Now again, when you consider this triangle now, you have this triangle here, we have this angle again is 30 and you have the hypotenuse here, that is 20. Still we can use trig ratios. Again, sine of angle 30, now is this 30, is equals to opposite. This one, we can name this as x. That side is x. Opposite is x divided by the hypotenuse, which is 20. So x is equals to 20 sine 30 degrees. 20 sine 30 degrees. And 20 sine 30 will give 10. To give 10 meters. So this length here is 10 meters. Now having that, we are remaining with this part. We are remaining with this part here. So how do we get that part? We need to get this side. So the moment we get this side, we'll be good to go. So this side, I can name this side as side H. Me name it as H, this side. So let me use this triangle. I will still use this triangle here. Cosine of 30 is equals to adjacent which is h, divided by the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is 20. So h will therefore be 20 cosine of 30. 20 cosine of 30. That will give 17.32. 17.32 meters. So after getting that, so this is a 20 point, not 20, but 17.32. Now, I can still use trig ratios again, now using this triangle that is here, to get these, I call it n, that side. So I'll simply use a sine of 20 is equals to opposite side, which is n, and the opposite side is this, n, divided by, well, that will not work, sine, because I don't have the hypotenuse. I can use, let me see the one I can use. I can use tangent. Tangent will work. Tangent of 20 will be opposite, which is n, over the adjacent. The adjacent is what we've just found as 17.32. So therefore, n will be 17.32 tangent of 20. 17 multiplied by tan of 20. That gives 6.30. 6.30. So correct one decimal place to be 6.3. Now we already have this as a 6.3. So now the entire height here will be given by, so we have up to this point, we got that one to be, this one is 10, this one is 10, already we have that one is 10, plus we have 6.3. Of 6.3. So this will give 16.3 meters. To give 16.3 meters. Correct one decimal place. Question 15. Given that A is equals to, we're given the matrix there, then B, we're given the vector there, then product AB is given as 4, 2. Find the inverse of A. So how do you find the inverse of A? First of all, you have to get the product AB. So you have A, matrix A, which is given here as H7 or 6. So that is A multiplied by B, which is 5K. So these will give, when you multiply these, should have this knowledge on how to multiply. These are 2 by 2 matrix multiplied by 2 by 1. So these will give H times 5, that is 5H, plus 7 times K, 7K. Then second row, 4 times 5, that is 20, plus 6 times K, 6K. So that is what you get. That is a product. And that product, this is A multiplied by B, and the product is given there. This product is given as 4, 2. Given as 4, 2. So the only thing now you need to do is to equate the corresponding elements. So these corresponds to 4. These first row correspond to the first row element here is 4. So 5H plus 7K is equals to 4. Then the second row, 20 plus 6K corresponds to 2. Like that. So solve this simultaneous equation. So I'll simply do this by, can use any suitable method of your choice. And when you look at the second one, actually, the second one gives you everything. So 20 plus 6K is equals to 2. So 6K is equals to negative 18. So K will give negative 3. So once you get K as negative 3, now it will be easier to get H, because you have 5H plus 7K, 7 times negative 3. That gives 4. So this will give 5H. This is negative 21 is equals to 4. So 5H is equals to 25. So H is equals to 5. And K is there. So you have the values of H and K now. Now the next thing that you need to do is to get the inverse of A. So now write matrix A. Matrix A will be H, 5, 4, 7, 6. So that will be the matrix that you require. Because now we have the value of H. Just substituted H there with 5. So to get the inverse of this, we start by getting the determinant. So the determinant of this matrix is 5 by 6. And then subtract the product of this column, 5 by 6, subtract 7 by 4. So this gives 30, subtract 28. And then this one will give 2. So that is the determinant. Now from there, to get the inverse of A, you get 1 divided by the determinant, like that. And then, you know how you interchange these values from here? So these will be, interchange these values when you're getting the inverse. So you shall have 6, negative 7, negative 4, 5, like that. You can see what is happening to these elements. 5, 6, you interchange them. This one becomes 6, 5. Then for this diagonal, 7, 4, you get -7, -4. So this one changes the sign. This one, they are interchanged. So this will give, multiply everything inside these, all the elements by a half. So half times 6, that is 3. Half times -7, that is a -3.5. Half times -4, -2. And then a half times 5, this is a 2.5. So that is how you're supposed to get the inverse. Question 16. The relationship between degrees Celsius and degrees Fahrenheit is linear. The table below gives the temperature in Celsius and the corresponding temperature in Fahrenheit. So the table is there. On the grid below, draw the graph to represent this information. Hence, determine the equation of F in terms of C. So draw the graph first, and then we find the equation. So we draw the graph using those values that are there. I can see from this graph here, the scale is y-axis Fahrenheit. 1 centimeter represents 10, or 2 centimeters represent 20. So 1 small square represents 1. Then for the Celsius, 1 centimeter represents 5. So 1 small square is 5, is 0.5. 0.5, yeah, like that. So we need to plot this. So 541. 541, the first one is 5 degree, 5 Fahrenheit 41. So 541. So 41 will be there. Then the next one is 1050. 1050. So 10, and then we have 50. 50 is there. So 41 was there. And then the next is 15, 59. 15, 59. 59 is somewhere here. Somewhere there. Then the next is 2068. 2068. 2068. 68 is here. 68 is there. Just putting a very small dot. And then 2577. 2577. 2577. So 77 is somewhere. So this is a 71, 75. 77 is here. 77 is there. The next one is 3086. 3086. 3086. So 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86 is somewhere there. 86 is somewhere here. So now with these points that are plotted here, you can see them, the points are here. You join them using a straight line. Join them using a straight line. Not yet. Yeah, like that. So that is the line. Still, I can see there's a point that is not okay. So there is the line. So after you've drawn the line, After you've drawn the line, there's only one point I need to confirm here. 20, this point 2068. 2068 is supposed to be somewhere here. 2068 is supposed to be somewhere there. So it is still, can find it okay. It is okay. 2068. So after drawing that, you need now to find the equation of f in terms of c. Of f in terms of c. So remember, f, that is similar with just the equation of a line. Y is equals to mx plus c. So in this case, y corresponds to f, according to what I'm comparing here. I'm comparing this with the standard equation of a straight line. So f is equals to, m will be the gradient, and then x will be the Celsius. The Celsius. X will be the Celsius. So then c will be the constant. Where does this line cast the y-axis? So that one I'll just maintain this one as, I can use another letter like n, so that I don't have two c's there. So I need to get the gradient. So to get the gradient, I just need to get 2 points. Just any 2 points on that line. I can use the one that are here. Like I can take 1050. Can take 1050, and I can take 3086. Use those 2 points, provided the points are on that line. So gradient is change in y. Change in y, 86, subtract 50, then over change in x, that is subtract 10. So this will give 36 divided by 20. And this will give 210 by 2, 18. So this will give 1.8. So now the equation will be f is equals to the gradient, which is 1.8, then c plus the y-intercept. The y-intercept, where does that line cut the y-axis? So this is a point. So this is a 20, 30, 31, 32. 32. 32. So that is the equation connecting f and c. So that is a linear equation.